Okay, I believe I was wrong. The prices of these bikes are not around £10,000. The base version is 8399 plus on the road, and the Cafe Racer version is 9099 plus on the road. I hope this doesn't annoy you during the duration of the video. I admit I was wrong, and I hope you enjoy it anyway.
Hello peeps, Deadbug Davies out and about again. Same place as I was the last few times. Weather is turning out lovely today. But today I am on Kawasaki's brand new w800. Only ridden it just down the road, a couple of miles. The bike is brand spanking new. It's got about 6 or 7 miles on the clock. So tyres, brakes, not bedded in at all. First impressions, I've kind of laughed the whole way here. I'm not sure the amount of power that this engine has, but it's been it's been quite comical. It's not gutless, I will give it that. It's nowhere near as gutless as I was expecting it to be. But the riding position was it's comfortable, but it kind of feels like you are obviously getting a lot of wind blast, and it's slightly windy today, but it does feel like you're kind of getting pulled back a bit. It's not uncomfortable sitting on it, but I feel like it will hurt my wrists if I was riding it. But the actual bar positions in it are very nice. Brakes, don't know what they are. Certainly not Brembos. Yeah, they're old school, they are. They feel okay actually, considering it's only just one caliper. They feel okay. The rear one's the same. The rear caliper looks pretty much the same as the front. Certainly not far off, that's probably why it's okay. Looks like a little dual piston one. Personally, I think this bike looks cracking. To me, there's only like 2 companies that are actually doing a proper retro bike, and that is Triumph. I think it's like the Fruxtons and things, and these. Everything else, like the Yamahas and stuff, they look retro, but they're not. You know, they've got modern. It's like a modern engine. You know, like the Kawasaki 900 RS. That's not a retro bike, in my opinion. It's a retro looking. Whereas obviously this is a very old style engine. Brand new engine, but it's very styled, very old school. Same as the Triumphs are. But personally, I think it's a cracking looking little bike. I don't know what it is about these. I don't know. I've just always kind of had a bit of a thing for the W800. Just wanted to, get one and go out cruising on it, because, you're going to probably struggle to do 100 miles an hour on this thing. It probably won't even do that, actually. I don't know, but it definitely doesn't have issues going along at 70 mile an hour. It's quite happy with that. The engine's quite punchy low down as well. When I was pulling out the shop, just letting the clutch out for the first time, it is a real. It really jumps forward very, very quickly. But anyway, yeah, I just think it's a wicked looking bike, especially if you change that rear light. If you change that into something, and say on top of that mudguard, opened it up a bit or something. I don't know, like that bit there looks okay, but it looks like it could be a little bit better. But I really like it. I do. I really like it. Anyway, I'm just going to start it up. I'll sit on it actually so you can see the dash. Well, it's not even a dash, is it? Proper old school again. Old school dual clocks. 2 analog dashes. It's obviously got all the digital bits. Does the cycling as all modern bikes do. Switch gear is about as normal as you can get. There's certainly nothing new about it. So yeah, start button's there as usual. Just let it idle as I walk around. So that sound is not a sound that you hear much anymore, and it's really nice to actually have a modern bike that has an old engine layout and that old engine sound. You could park this outside some sort of cafe somewhere if this was your thing, and people would think that was an old bike, wouldn't they? You wouldn't think that was a modern bike. It really is made to look like an old bike, and I think it pulls it off perfectly. To me, pulls it off pretty much. You know, there is, as I said, there's only Triumph and this, and this is definitely the only Japanese make that to me hits the retro look. The other bikes look retro, but you know, they're performance retro, aren't they, really? Yeah, so this, I don't know if you can hear it, but I bet it'll probably sound quite nice with some pipes, you know, straight through bits, and that'd be quite noisy. Quite a lot of vibrations through the bars when I was doing that. I didn't really notice it when I was riding. Yeah, you can feel the vibrations. There, 10 miles, that's all it's got. But everything feels quite nice. Mirrors, they're not great. They're alright. I just had to adjust them a little bit, but it feels like quite a nice place to be, actually. I'd be quite happy to just go for a ride and chill out on that. I really would. It looks like the indicators are still... Are they bulb? Yeah, old school bulb indicators. And the rear light. Yeah, that looks like a bulb to me. Not a bad looking little bike though. I really like it already. It's not my sort of bike, but it kind of reminds me of, you know, I would actually really like it if all the people that I was going on holiday to, say, Wales or Scotland if we all had bikes like this, it would just be so cool. It would just be like so chilled out. You wouldn't have to worry about going fast. You wouldn't have to worry about nothing. It just seems like a bike I could just sit on, chill out. Anyway, I'm going to get out on the road on it. Actually, before I do that, before I make any impressions of what I think this bike is like, there was one major issue with this bike, the 2019 w800, and that is price. It's very expensive, very expensive. I'm not sure on the exact figures, but it's around £10,000. Could be just over, could be a little bit under. Couldn't run through it with a shop. Busy as always, day like this, so it gets busy quick. And I think £10,000 is a lot of money, considering you could buy the 900 RS for just a little bit more. It seems like a lot of cash. Yeah, I don't know, but obviously this is made out of, you know, it's made out of metal. It's not plasticky bits. You know, the tanks and all these sort of bits, they're all metal, and that's metal. I don't know actually. Was that metal? Sounds it. You know, it's, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of money to me. I think that's one of the big downfalls about it. Just gonna have a look under the seat while we're here. And that's what you get. It looks like we've got a place to put an old D-lock in it. That's what that little bit there looks like. No, it's not. It's just the shape of it. It's got even less storage than like most sports bikes, to be honest. There ain't much under there. So yeah, that's on. Right, now I'm getting back out on the road, so I'll do an opinions while I'm out and about. I'll catch you in a minute. Hello, I'm back again. Alright, there's a few initial thoughts about this bike, as I said, with the price of it being a major, I wouldn't say it's a major issue, you know, because people that buy this, you know, they're not going to be youngsters working at Tesco's. It's probably going to be the older lads. So, price-wise, it's debatable. Depends what you're willing to spend, doesn't it, really? So it's got enough guts to it, but it's certainly not groundbreaking, obviously, but I wasn't expecting it to be. But considering the bike has done 14 miles, it's very punchy. It's got a good amount of torque to it. Power's okay. Brakes and that are surprisingly good. Handles pretty well. I still just can't get over the price of this bike being over £10,000, or maybe just under. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, and I only found out, I spoke to him about it a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember, but there's two versions. There's this one, and then there's a Cafe Racer one, but I don't know if it's just called a Cafe. But that one looks really stunning. You know, if they put like a seat cowl on the back seat, it would look like a racing bike from a bygone era. They've really hit it on the nail on these bikes, in my opinion. And it actually does feel like an old bike when you're sitting here. Like that sounds stupid, but just your view of the mirrors, the riding position, the bars, it feels old. It makes, you know, it gives you that sort of like you are riding an old bike. You're obviously not. You know you're not riding an old bike because it's brand spanking new. You can feel it's a new bike. There's no squeaks, there's no bangs, there's no rattles or anything. You can tell it's a new bike, but it just feels old. It gives you like a nice warm feeling. Actually, it makes me actually feel pretty good to actually ride a bike that is kind of made to be retro or look retro, feel retro, whatever. And it actually does make you feel like you are riding an old bike. It's not just an aesthetic, it actually feels it. But only in a good way. I don't mean it feels it as in it's underpowered and it brakes as shit and it rattles, and not at all. It's just the actual seating position and the bars and the clocks and the tank. Kind of almost looks chopperish from here actually, but yeah, I don't know. Which actually just brings me to one of the issues that I have. Seating position. Seating position is nice, to be honest. My arms feel fine, my wrists feel good, considering I have carpal tunnel in both hands. Feels nice. But I cannot find a comfortable position on the seat. Because if I sit forward, you know, the actual rider's part of the seat is very small. If I sit forward, it doesn't feel natural for me to sit here. I feel like I'm leaning, my whole body's at a leaning back angle, so I have to scooch my bum back. But that kind of means I'm sitting in the curve of the seat, so it's kind of making me not sit right. It's, yeah, I don't know what it is. It doesn't suit someone of my stature. If you were shorter, you had shorter arms than that, probably be fine. Or if the bars didn't sweep back so much, probably would be okay. That's one of my gripes at the moment. That's probably my only real main gripe. I actually quite like it. I think if you're in the market for a bike like this, then you're probably, as I said a minute ago, you're probably not too worried about how much it's going to cost, because you know you want a bike that looks old. If you're going to buy a bike like this, you want something that's really retro, not retro looking or modern retro. This is a modern retro, but it 100% looks like a more retro bike. And if that's what you're looking for, you've only got a couple of bikes to choose from. I'm not sure how much the Triumph is, but you know, it's probably cheaper than this, to be honest with you. But yeah, I don't know. It's a hard thing to do, hard decision. If I was in the market for this, then I would like this bike. You know, I quite like it. It's characterful. It's got punchy little eager little engine. Kind of like a little, get back to the dog references, it's like a little Jack Russell, you know. Kind of a little bit crazy in that way, little punchy little thing, but it's got character. Sorry, not crazy, it's certainly not crazy. I mean, it's got the power to be crazy, but no, it's got character. I'm taking it easy at the moment. These tyres are brand new, and they're probably not the best tyres in the world in the first place, so. But I like it. As I was saying back at the walk around, I said that I've had a bit of a thing for these bikes, and I kind of just wanted to get one and go riding around Wales on it and just enjoy the ride. And I think I could. It would probably, the only problem is, of course, as I've mentioned before, is after my accident my arms are a bit knackered, well, my left shoulder anyway, and obviously with this there's no panniers or nothing, and if you did put panniers on this it would probably struggle to death, so that would put me off. So it wouldn't be a bike I would tour on in the end. It would end up being like a little love child. It wouldn't even be like something I'd go out for a blast on, because it's not powerful enough, but it is something I would just go out for a ride You know, same as today, I'm feeling a little bit tired. My brain seems a bit slow, so I've had a coffee. And then get on a bike like this, and it just feels kind of nice. Get the air around you. You know, you don't have to worry too much because the engine's certainly not going to bite you in the arse. Handles pretty nice. Brakes are pretty good, front and rear. Clocks are pretty good. Fueling on the engine feels really nice. You know, it's very, very eager. Right, let me try it. Right. I don't think this is going to do it. I don't think this is going to have the power, but I'm in 5th doing... Am I doing 30? I am now. 5th doing 30. Yeah, it's okay. It's not going to accelerate quick. Bearing in mind it has 19 miles on it now. So, not really ideal for it, but, you know, I'm doing 40. Yeah, look, that'll accelerate. That's okay. Not bad. Pretty good. Pretty good. At least I think I was in 5th. I don't know if this has actually got 5 or 6 gears. I don't know. I actually don't fucking know. Maybe we should try and find out, eh? Right, hang on. Right, so I think that should be 3rd. That should be 2nd. No, that's 1st. 2nd. 3rd. 4th. 5th. Yes, there's 5 gears. So I was doing 30 in 4th, not in 5th. It's a 5-speed gearbox. So we'll take back that comment about it being good at 30 in 5th. It's 30 in 4th. Yeah, quite a fun little bike. Eager little thing. I'm quite liking it. Certainly no, you know, there ain't much, you know, that's winding it onto the hill, pretty much. It's not gonna, you know, still quick enough. Wasn't top speed. I reckon all in all you'll probably get a ton out of it. I reckon. It certainly hasn't got the power that even the Motor Guzzi that I rode the other week had. You know, that had the engine on that was way more eager. But there's also something quite nice in that, you know, that the engine's plucky and small and gutless. Quite like it. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. Get to another bit and I'll see you there. Alright, I'm back again. Just a little bit down the road. Yeah, this seating position, this is one thing that I've noticed as I'm riding it along. The seat is making me kind of arch my lower spine, like my pelvis is kind of arched forward, as the rest of me is kind of in a normal position. It doesn't suit my size, that's for sure, this seat. Everything else is actually pretty nice. The riding position itself is actually nice. It's just the seat that is messing up my enjoyment. Apart from that, like the suspension and stuff, it's okay. It's not bad. It's obviously, you know, it's not the top of the line Öhlins or anything like that. It's just looks non-adjustable. Certainly not from the top, it's not. But you know, it seems to cope quite well. I'm not sure, you know, you're certainly not going to want to dial this into a racing machine, are you? So I think it'll probably be okay for that. But yeah, I like it. When I was going on this, it was the same as the Motor Guzzi, really. I wasn't really expecting anything. I wasn't actually thinking, oh, the bike's going to blow me away, or you know, it's going to have way too much power, or it's going to have no power. I was kind of thinking it was going to be gutless, which it is compared to the bikes I'm used to. But at the same time, it's quite nice to be having that. And the engine note is quite nice. The exhaust note, sorry, is quite cool. Quite like that. One annoyance, but it's not the bike's fault, is the on your bike tag for the key. If you don't jam it down where the bars are, it has a tendency to flick up, and then it sits over the bottom of the right hand side, like the rev counter, and then that covers the indicator sign, so you don't actually know if you're actually indicating. As I said, not the bike's fault. It's definitely one of those bikes, if you were you know, if you liked these sort of bikes and you were getting back into biking, I think this is probably one of the bikes that people would get for that. I don't think it's a bike that people who are already established bikers would actually get. It kind of seems like a born-again biker sort of bike or feel. It's not like it's a bad thing. It's supposed to evoke memories of days gone by, and they're probably memories I don't have. You know, I was probably a child when bikes of this sort of design back in the day were out. But yeah, it's good. It's the only issue I have that is still ringing through my mind is the price. You know, 10 grand-ish for this is a lot of money. You can get a lot of other bikes for 10 grand. But on the flip side of that coin, you can't get many other bikes that look like this for 10 grand, brand new. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't spend £10,000 on this, because I'd always find another bike that I'd want. It's more modern, more electronics, blah blah blah. But also at the same time, it's quite nice to have a bike with pretty much no electronics. I don't even know if this has got ABS. I'll have a look in a minute. Yeah, it just seems like for your 10 grand you're buying into a name, like a fashion or a brand, kind of like the Ducati Scrambler sort of thing was, you know, because then when that came out they then brought out Scrambler t-shirts and stuff, so it kind of feels like you're going to be buying into a brand as well as the actual bike. But it's a bit of a shame, you know. I think that they've tried to keep it as retro as possible by even putting bulbs indicator on, a bulb brake light. I don't know if the front one is a bulb. You know, they've tried to really keep the retro feel, which is fine. But yeah, for the price you're paying, you kind of want a bit more than that. Well, I would anyway. Right, I'm going to sign off for a sec. I'll be back. Right, back again. I just realised what I said earlier about having ABS. Of course it's got ABS. I don't think you can get through EU regulations without ABS anymore. Yeah, I just pulled over back there to get a picture, which I'm going to put on the thumbnail. I just saw a plane at the side of the road, well, in a field at the side of the road, so I thought I'd use that as the thumbnail for the video. Forward thinking. So yeah, this is going to be my final thoughts. I'm going to take it down the side road, one of these roads down here, pull over, do one little last walk around, and well, I haven't done enough really. You know, I've only done 20 miles on it. Well, over 20 miles, but not much. But yeah, it's a cool little bike, but I think that the problem is going to be that this is such a niche market. You know, it's not going to be a big hit, and I think Kawasaki have kind of shot themselves in the foot with the pricing of this. I'm pretty sure it's not a cheap bike to make, considering, you know, all the metal parts instead of plastic, but it's still a lot of money. 10 grand is just nuts, really. It's just a nuts amount of money for a bike like this. But I think a bike like this, if you were interested in that, you're as I've mentioned, it's probably not money that's the issue. You're going to buy this with your heart and a chance to you know, reignite memories that you had from when you were young or something. You know, that's why you're going to buy a bike like this, I would have thought. I can't imagine, you know, a 21-year-old buying this instead of, you know, on his restricted A license, buying this instead of something else. It's just not going to happen, you know. So this is probably going to be bought by people who are a little bit older and they have the money behind them. So, you know, if you wanted to spend 10 grand on it, I'm pretty sure this thing, it seems to run like a watch, you know, like a Swiss watch. It purrs away. The engine definitely isn't under any sort of stress, so I reckon this would last you years, like probably with no issues at all. And if that's what you're after, then, you know, I think that this and the Triumph are the only two that you've really got that sort of look, you know, that sort of the proper retro look, and they're the only two you can really have a choice with. The other ones like the Kawasaki RS and Yamaha's XSR, you know, they are retro, but then they're not really. They don't even look retro. You know, they've got a retro look, but they're not like this. You know, it's completely different. Whereas this obviously looks like a bike that they made years ago. Which is probably, if I was going to buy this for the amount of money that it is, I would probably edge towards the Kawasaki 900 RS, because it's probably a similar price, and they're a cracking bike. They're really well made and they look really nice, and they do look retro, probably a lot more than any of the other Japanese retros. But obviously it's got a more performance modern engine. This has got a modern engine, but nowhere near as performance based as the 900 RS. But I do like it. I do like it. It's certainly not for me. Certainly will have its fans. Come to think of it, I am its fan. I am a fan of it. I've always kind of liked these because it's the quirkiness. You know, I quite like the idea of something quirky. I like that. You know, everyone seems to just care about what a bike looks like now. You know, well, let's go and, you know, same as like the, you know, let's go and cover the whole bike up, like the modern sports bikes. The only thing you see on the engine now is the crankcase, and everything's covered. You know, I was into that a long time ago, but now it's kind of like, I want to see a bit of the engine. I want to see a bit of the mechanics of it. So it must be because I'm getting a bit older, and that's probably one thing that will shock many people. I am not one of the fans of the Panigale. I don't actually like the look of it, so I can already see the people coming in and comments on my videos and saying, what am I talking about? Well, looks and stuff like that always depend on the person. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's what makes us human. Just because I say I don't like the look of something, don't start moaning at me because you do like it, okay? It's no offence meant. If I say I don't like the look of it, I'm not trying to offend anyone that likes it or someone that's got it. It's not like that. I'm just giving people my opinion, which is exactly what I'm trying to do with this. That's why I do these reviews. So anyway, rant over, back to the bike. So the final thoughts before I pull over, which is just going to be up here. Would I buy one? I'd buy a second-hand one and use it for a little bit of fun. But for me personally, the new price of this, it should be 7.5-ish at most. 10-ish is too much. It is just too much. I can't imagine Kawasaki selling hardly any of these. I just can't. Right, I'm gonna pull into this lay-by up here. Yeah, so I just can't see Kawasaki selling many. And one thing before I sign off, Gearbox is actually really nice. It's very easy to find gears, very easy to find neutral. I'm about 6 foot tall, and I'm flat foot in both easily. In fact, my knees are bent. So seat height for this, no problem. If that's one of the things that worries you, is seat height, Kawasaki w800, I won't worry a slightest bit about it. So yeah, that's kind of my review. Well, review. You can't really review a bike on a 30-mile ride, can you? But that's my opinion of what it would be. And I think you can get a good impression of a bike within the first 20 miles. You know, like if you sit on one and you think, oh man, this feels amazing, then it very rarely changes. But if you sit on one and you absolutely hate it, that doesn't really change. But if you see there where the seat goes up, where the rider seat is, there's that bump. That feels a lot more prominent to me when I'm on the bike. I feel like I'm sitting on that bump just where the shock actually joins. I'm kind of there, and it arches my lower bit of my spine forward, makes it a little bit uncomfortable for me. Apart from that though, I do like it. I do like it, but it's certainly not for me. It's not nothing against the bike, but it's just the price. The price is just stupid. It's beyond a joke, really, to me. You know, but I think that because this is say around £10,000, there's going to be a lot of bike manufacturers that are going to really start selling stuff. If people want to actually get a retro, then I think, you know, they're more than likely going to head towards that, because £10,000 is a scary amount of money. But none of them look like this. So, and I go back to what I just said. If you buy a bike like this, you're going to want to go back and get a proper modern retro bike. Then I'm not sure there is any better than this. Well, it's this or the Triumph. So, and I haven't had much luck with Triumph, so I'd probably head towards this. I really like it though. I like the look of it. I bet it would sound quite nice, as I said, but if you change the exhaust, I bet it would sound pretty meaty. But before I sign out, once again, as usual, thanks to all the lads and lasses over at onyerbike over in Waddesdon. This is their demo bike, so if you want to take it out for a ride, go there, speak to the lads. Tony is the Kawasaki guy. He's a good guy. Talks very fast, so if you're speaking to him, try and pay attention. Yeah, as long as you've got a nice clean license, no points, stuff like that, you can get out on a ride. Just be wary, obviously, on a weekend they are very busy, so you could have to wait around to get the keys off of them. So anyway, from this beautiful place, I quite often stop here. Nice view. From here I'm going to sign out and take this back and go and get another bike. But while I'm on that subject, had a few more subs. Thanks very much if you're a new subscriber to my channel. It's not even really a channel, is it? I'm certainly no big YouTuber. I'm nearly at 300 now though. My aim, hopefully one day, is to get up to 1,000. If I get up to 1,000, I'll be a happy man. But maybe if I pull my finger out and do more reviews, that will happen. So once again, thank you very much for all my recent subscribers. Thank you very much for still being a subscriber if you've been with me for a while. I really appreciate it. I'm not getting no money out of this or anything, and I'm only a small fry, but I'm not that sort of person. I'm not going to put ads in my videos. I'm not going to put music over the sound of the bike. I may at some point put music on the very first, say, 20-30 seconds of a video when I'm not talking or the bike's not running. That's the only time I'm ever going to put music in my videos. But I can't even bother to do that, to be honest. I just want, you know, it's more important to talk about the bike, hear the bike, stuff like that, to me anyway. You know, and if that's not your thing, there's plenty of other videos out there that put music over bikes and stuff. If it is your thing to actually hear the bike over everything else, then maybe you'll like my channel. So, as I said, I'm just a small fry compared to many of the others anyway, and I don't really care if I'm, you know, going to get millions of subscribers. I don't care too much about that. So anyway, I'm going to sign out, taking this back, and I'm going to go and ride. Well, you'll have to wait and see on my next videos, won't you? Alright, Deadbug Davey, is out. Laters.